over here in Europe, but I'm doing this show at like 5:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the East Coast of the United States. And if you're in Cali, the time's even worse for you. But welcome back. Today, we're going to be doing our normal show, just discussing a few of the newest stuff going on. Nothing crazy. Everything is for entertainment purposes, YouTube, so please don't F with my videos. As well as what else? Nothing goes against community guidelines or anything like that. We read every single thing of YouTube's community guidelines, we follow them, and yeah, we definitely do that.
After President Donald Trump did the unthinkable.
These are the hostages, approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Granting pardons and clemency to all 1,500 men and women charged with the January 6th riot, including those who violently assaulted police and leaders of seditious militias.
I think it's a good day for America that this is being, all the wrongs are being done.
If you listen to what Trump said, I believe he said the FBI or the CIA was involved. He said that straight up. He said, yeah, I know that they did that to police, but wasn't there FBI and CIA police or something there to incite them? And they said yes. And yeah, so like no one's talking about that, but they're all talking about this.
Just last week, Trump's own vice president suggested it wouldn't happen.
If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned.
Now it seems the rule of law is subject to the whims of one man.
Donald Trump has said, if you engage in political violence in my name, don't worry about it. I'll let you off.
And Biden said, I'll let you off. I'll let my whole family off as long as you do crimes for me and give me money.
The first, with the consequences of dozens of executive orders already spilling into view. In Mexico, migrants found their appointments to seek asylum in the U.S. suddenly canceled. Trump's plans to end birthright citizenship are set to test the limits of the Constitution in court. And his plans for mass deportations and detention camps could deliver a staggering human toll.
I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Images start to leak out of detention camps and barbed wire facilities where you could have U.S. families, mixed status families, right? Or maybe the family unit tries to stay together.
The question facing Trump's opponents is how far they're willing to go to push back. On just the second day of this new administration,
as far as possible.
Already multiple lawsuits over Trump's plans to cancel birthright citizenship. More lawsuits challenging other parts of the Trump agenda are expected in the coming days. Jackson Prosco, Global News, Washington.
I think that's the thing that's different now about Trump. Before, he might have been scared to get a lawsuit. He might have been more cautious, scared of prison time, scared of a lawsuit. But now he doesn't care if he upsets the globalist or the New World Order. He's not going to be like every other country he's not going to be like Europe where they have a trending immigration problem. In some cases, in some countries, not all countries, some of them are good. And who cares what Bernie Sanders said, by the way? Bernie Sanders is a lying socialist. One of his biggest things that Bernie Sanders says is to income equality, income equality. That's all Bernie Sanders is mostly about. And he has over $5 million in his bank account. So what does he mean, income equality? That'll take most people about 100 years at $50,000 a year to make $5 million. So I don't know about that one. Doesn't seem like he really does what he preaches. He doesn't practice what he preaches. Let's see what else. Trump. Let's look in CNN because we love the communist news.
Presidential inaugurations are a lot about optics. Donald Trump's second inauguration on Monday was no exception.
Let's see how
For
garbage
one,
this
it just
is.
literally looked different since it was moved indoors because of freezing
Eh,
temperatures.
garbage already. You're not even
But
gonna
it was
show
also
your face? Come on, guy. No wonder no one watches CNN anymore. Let's watch some more.
Tonight, a bishop takes on Trump and pleads with him face to face to, quote, have mercy. The Episcopal Bishop of Washington pleading with President Trump to show compassion towards undocumented immigrants and the LGBTQ community today. A dramatic moment coming during her sermon at today's National Prayer Service. I'm going to speak to the bishop in just a moment, but first...
Why do you need to beg about LGBTQ? He didn't do anything to them. All he said is he doesn't want their flag all over government buildings, and he doesn't believe that there's more than two genders. They're scientifically proven.
But I want to play for you the moment and show you at the same time on the screen the president's reaction.
Let me make one final plea.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Apparently, bishops are lesbian now. I didn't know there was such thing as a lesbian bishop. It's nothing against her looks or anything, but it's more than obvious the way she's talking and the way she looks is, you know.
Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation
And her short hair.
you have felt the providential hand of a loving God.
Not that all those things make you lesbian, but
in the name of our God,
if she's asking about LGBTQ rights, there's nothing that he's doing to violate them.
on the people in our country.
So if she's saying that, then that must mean she's one of them.
All right, Reverend Marianne Edgar Buddy, the Bishop at Washington National Cathedral, is now out front. And Bishop, I appreciate your time and your tone there, so serious and genuine. You see him, he's stone-faced, he then looks down, but he's listening to every word you say. As you made that personal plea to him, what were you looking at him in that moment? What kind of response were you perhaps hoping for in that moment?
I was looking at the president because I was speaking directly to him. I was also, frankly, as you do in every sermon, speaking to everyone who was listening through that one-on-one conversation with the president, reminding us all that in the people that are frightened in our country, the two groups of people that I mentioned are our fellow human beings, and that they have been portrayed in all throughout the political campaign in the harshest of lights that I wanted to counter as gently as I could with a reminder of their humanity and their place in our wider community. And I was speaking to the president because I felt that he has this moment now where he feels charged and empowered to do what he feels called to do. And I wanted to say, you know, there is room for mercy. There's room for a broader compassion. We don't need to portray with a broad cloth in the harshest of terms some of the most vulnerable people in our society who are, in fact, our neighbors, our friends, our children, our friends' children, and so forth.
So you spoke, I like how you use the word...
Like and subscribe if you support Donald J. Trump and you think the CNN is just communist news network.
Not ugly or confrontational. Wouldn't expect it to be, but these are hard things to talk about in that context. You spoke obviously about undocumented migrants, also the LGBT community, the two communities.
She's gay.
I wanted to play a little bit more of what you said, and also, again, the president's reaction at that moment.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. The vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away.
They shouldn't have committed a crime, you dumb...
What made you decide to say all that today?
Well, these are the people that I
Don't
know.
commit crimes and you
These are
don't gotta
not
worry
people from me. These are
about being
actual people
deported.
that I know. So I wanted to
Don't come into a
speak on their
country
behalf.
illegally, and maybe, here's an idea, maybe
I
they
wanted
won't
to
deport you.
present a vision of what unity can look like in this country that is transcending of differences and viewpoints and acknowledging our common
She has the
humanity.
woke mind
I wanted to
virus.
speak in such a way that reflected that dignity and respect, but I also wanted to bring into that space the real humanity of the
Being
people
gay.
that I was referencing.
Now, he was asked about that because obviously there was.
You were gay yesterday, and now you're gay today, and the day before Trump was president, you were gay. What's the difference? What rights is he taking away from you?
Not too excited, was it?
She was gay before Trump became president. She's still gay. So what rights have changed? What rights are gone? I'm so confused.
Could have been much stronger than that, but obviously he made he made his feelings known in that context. But we know, right? He'll say what he thinks, and he could have said much more. What's your response to?
Hit the like and subscribe button for this communist bullcrap.
Well,
We love Donald J. Trump.
It was a very muted response. I wasn't expecting. I keep my expectations low whenever I preach, Aaron. I can't always measure impact by body language or even what people say.
I can.
So
Your impact was
I have to let all
none.
of that go. I speak from what I believe I've been given to say, and let it go from there. But it was a respectful response. He didn't like it. He said so. He said we could do better. Some of the other comments I've received haven't been as kind or has been as muted, shall we say. And one of the things I was trying to get across is that we can actually have these conversations in a respectful way.
Yeah. Well, I can only imagine. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it and to be so thoughtful about it. Thank you so much, Bishop.
Guys, much appreciated. If you're new here, click the like and subscribe button. We're checking out some of Trump's LGBTQ.
Bishop has disgraced herself on day one of the Trump presidency by using her sermon to lecture Donald Trump and his family on the treatment of LGBTQIA+ children and illegal immigrants during a church service in Washington, D.C.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes.
They are criminals if they came in illegally.
They are faithful members.
If they entered the
of
country
our
illegally,
churches,
they are
mosques,
criminals.
Synagogues, Wadara, and
That's the
temples.
legal definition.
I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
Bishop Marianne Edgar Buddy of the Episcopal Diocese of
No,
Washington
I don't
was
want
slammed online
strangers.
for her
No.
tone-deaf sermon.
Especially if I don't know if you have a criminal record or if you're a murderer or a burglar. I don't want you near me.
Unify America around a Christian message at the dawn of a new administration. Instead, she disgraced herself with a lecture you'd hear on CNN or an episode of The View. What an embarrassment. This commentator agreed, saying, as a Catholic and legal immigrant, it's outrageous that some woke bishop would lecture President Trump about deporting illegals. It's an insult to all of us who came to this country the right way. If you don't have borders, then you don't have a country. The lecture left everyone on Team Trump visibly uncomfortable, particularly Vice President J.D. Vance, who looked to his wife in disgust of what was being said.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
Bishop Marianne Edgar Buddy has a strong history of woke lectures and anti-Trump activism.
Why the hell would they let her speak?
What is your message to President
I'm so confused on how they even let her speak.
Speaking to President Trump, we need to replace President Trump. We need leadership that will lead us in the ways that this country deserves.
She's insane. She has a freaking mental illness. She's wearing a damn mask over.
This begs the question, why this particular bishop was chosen to lead the service when she is clearly at such odds with the new administration. This commentator said, who thought it was a good idea to have this lunatic give a sermon to Trump? Donald Trump retained composure when asked about the service, simply saying he didn't think it was a good service.
Mr. President, what did you think of the sermon? What did you think of the sermon? What did you think of the
service? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I did think it was a good service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
This commentator went further, saying he's being nice. It was disgraceful. She embarrassed herself. The bizarre sermon came after Donald Trump spent his first day as president getting down to business, executing a number of executive orders, many of which combat the woke mind virus that has taken over the world in recent times.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders.
Yes!
Male and female.
Just like scientifically. Just like scientifically.
This led to many progressives breaking down, like this group in San Francisco who had a scream to let out their frustration over the Trump inauguration.
Just cry. Sounds like San Francisco to me. Just another day. Just another day. How to oppose Donald Trump. You can't oppose Donald Trump. You can cry about it some more.
Continue to bring you the top feeds a lot.
Of who we are. Second, foundation.
And the biggest thing Donald Trump did today, as far as Australia is concerned, is fight the global warming panic that is strangling us, our economy especially. Trump killed off net zero today and is going to make our own politicians look so stupid and reckless if they don't do the same. Whatever our government is doing, Trump is now doing the opposite to kickstart his economy by getting America more energy and cheaper.
And we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it.
One of the first decisions he made today was to order the US to quit the Paris Agreement to cut emissions. So now, the world's three biggest emitters, China, which is the biggest of all, the US and India, can increase their own, while we schmucks spend billions cutting tiny our emissions. Tiny.
The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty. We're going to save over $1 trillion by withdrawing from that treaty.
Trump today also scrapped car emission standards of the kind that the Albanese government has just imposed on us. He's rolled back restrictions on oil and gas exploration. In contrast, the Albanese government last week banned gas exploration off New South Wales. And there was more. Joining me is National Senator Matt Canavan, the former Resources Minister. Matt, this is huge.
It is massive, Andrew, absolutely massive. I felt that there was no justification for Australia to sign up.
Hit the like and subscribe button for me and Donald J. Trump. He's changing the world.
Sacrifice ourselves, but as you've just outlined there, now that the US, the world's biggest economy, has got out of this.
Almost at 3,000 subscribers, guys. We're getting real close. I appreciate everyone.
Three countries, China, India, and the United States.
Yes, sir. This is the Australian news.
51% of global emissions. So more than half the world's emissions now are covered by countries that are not included in this agreement. China and India haven't signed the latest climate agreements at the latest climate conferences. They're outside it. The US is now formally outside it. I think the question's going to be put now to every political leader that supports this is, what does Australia get out of this? What do Australians get out of staying committed to a Paris agreement, which puts us on an arbitrary...
The Australians don't like their left-wing government.
2050. We can all see now with our own eyes that this is costing us a fortune. Costing us a fortune in higher power bills, costing us a fortune in losing our manufacturing industries, costing us a fortune having to subsidise those manufacturing industries that want to go green, like the aluminium industry we saw yesterday. That's going to cost us $2 billion to do that.
No, I'm not Australian. I really dislike the Australian news because they have a really good perspective. You know, they're way better than the American news. They talk about American news, but they talk about it with their perspective, you know? I really like it.
Arbitrary, excessive target of net zero emissions by 2050. It's clearly not going to do anything to the environment. Our mere 1% of emissions is not going to outweigh the over 50% emissions of China, India, and the United States that are now going their own path.
Yeah, it's fresh, exactly. It's something fresh.
Australia's too small to make any real difference to the climate to add all that anyone can.
It's Sky News, that's what it's called.
Example to everyone else. If we didn't do it, they would. Well, China's not doing it, America's not doing it, India's not doing it, right to
.com.aussie.
not doing it. I mean, who are we setting the example to at tremendous cost? Because it's not just that. Even in the developed world, it's not just the US now jumping off the global warming bandwagon, or at least trying to slow it down. So now that the costs are so clear, is it?
Well, the people we're doing it for now, Andrew, are the very small number of elite Australians that can afford to signal their virtue in this way. That's what we're doing it for. It's not about the environment. This is now a virtue signalling exercise, a luxury good for people who can afford to say, look at me, how great am I? I'm going to tick the box.
Piers Morgan, I'll be honest, I don't really like that guy. I mean, he has a few good videos, a few good stuff he does. He's a bit annoying, but he's not, I don't really like him, but he's better than a lot of he's all right. He's better than the people at American News. He's pretty decent. He has some good points. I think as far as like Britain and British news, he's like one of the best for sure. He's like the Tucker Carlson of Britain.
Is a great challenge
of Great Britain
to Australia's economic prosperity, because
that's how I think of him. He's the British Tucker Carlson.
Lower energy prices, high competitiveness, not just through this.
Obviously, he's more left-wing than Tucker Carlson, but yes.
That's going to increase the gap between the competitiveness of the American economy and the Australian economy. And under this Labor government, our productivity is in freefall. We have never seen a reduction in economic productivity like we have had in these past 2 years. That threatens to just get deeper now if we don't wake up to ourselves, get rid of our complacency, and start to concentrate on what matters to make...
He does criticize both sides, but my only criticism of him is that sometimes he completely forgets some of the stuff that the left do. He's a little bit one-sided in a few arguments. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but...
The department said its greatest challenge is climate change. It's trying to design its tanks and ships to tackle climate change.
What do you guys think about Alex Jones? Should I show more Alex Jones on this show or not?
They don't have to lose their homes in the next couple of years, and also making sure that we can defend our nation by having a strong manufacturing industry and a defence procurement system, a defence system that works.
Hit the like and subscribe button if you guys are just joining in. Let me know where you're coming from. I love to hear where you're coming from. Let me know if you like Trump, you hate the guy, support the guy.
Indonesia, particularly the coal-fired.
Honestly, let's do a poll. Who's better, Trump or Biden? I'll put the poll in the chat.
Really hurt us. Let's see. Let's start. In fact, Matt, and I know you've been trying to do it, let's start with your own opposition, the coalition, convincing them to drop the net zero fantasy. And then let's hope Labor will then follow suit. Matt Canavan, always fascinating to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time.
What else? Withdrawing from the World Health Organization. Ooh, that's a big one.
On his first day back in office, President Donald Trump signed an executive order calling for the US to withdraw from the World Health Organization. In 2020, Donald Trump began making moves to free the US from the United Nations agency, but President Joe Biden reversed course when he took office. Now Donald Trump is president again. He's wasted no time signing the order, which declares that the Secretary of State shall immediately inform the Secretary General of the United Nations and the leadership of the World Health Organization of the withdrawal. Now, Trump's order calls for the Secretary of State to pause the future transfer.
Alex is way too pro-Russian for my taste. That's hilarious that you say that. I don't think I've ever seen one thing pro-Russian on Alex Jones. Tucker Carlson, I think, is more pro-Russian than Alex Jones. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong.
The World Health Organization has become nothing more than a corrupt globalist scam paid for by the United States but owned and controlled by China. When the China virus reached our shores 3 years ago, the World Health Organization disgracefully covered the tracks.
Someone voted Biden? Y'all can't be real.
The World Health Organization
Who voted Biden?
The move, saying it regrets the announcement that the United States of America intends to withdraw from the organization. We hope that the United States...
Who went to Putin? Trump went to Putin?
We look forward to engaging in constructive dialogue to maintain the partnership between the USA and the World Health Organization for the benefit of...
Alex went to Russia too? When did Alex go to Russia?
With support. Australia's One Nation leader.
Yeah, I know Tucker went to Putin. I kind of found it ridiculous that Tucker said that, look how cheap the groceries are. Look how cheap the groceries are. Yeah, no shit. They make a lot less money than us. The salary is a lot lower than the USA on average. But I don't remember Alex did go on Russian TV and said stuff like, "No, America's no longer free." When did that happen? I don't remember that.
For the US to withdraw from the World Health Organization was one of many executive orders the president made.
What do you guys think about Alex?
Annalise Nielsen has had a front seat to all things Trump 2.0, from the announcement of his candidacy.
Honestly, I think it was a good talk with Putin. I didn't really find anything ridiculous about the talk. What did you find ridiculous about the talk? The ridiculous part was him showing the grocery store was kind of like, and saying, "Oh, look, it's so much better than America. It's cheaper." Like, bro, you can go to like literally any country and say that. I mean, I'm an American citizen from Florida, Southwest Florida, but I'm living in Europe right now. But I love Donald Trump. But I don't think he's perfect. He has a lot of flaws, like everyone does. But he's a hell of a better than Biden, in my opinion.
Was part of an excellent coverage. so ourselves at Sky News from the middle of the night to now the end of the night here. Many, many hours later. She joins us now from Washington, D.C., where it's just gone 5:30 in the morning, mate. You are the Energizer Bunny. You just keep going. Well done, mate. Congrats to you, the team, and everyone else. Chris as well with his show has been absolutely fabulous.
What do you guys think about Tucker and Alex? Alex Jones, I don't think he ever went to Russia. I'm going to Google this right now. I'm double checking you guys.
Many times over. But what to you was most striking about being in that arena when there was not just...
I'm going to go on Google and see what it says. Hold on.
There was a speech, of course, by the president, much more informal speech to one that he had made at the inaugural, but also those executive orders where that change that people had voted for, am I sort of onto something here that they wanted it? So he gave it to them, and he gave it to them via a fire hose.
I heard one journalist say that they were drowning in news lines, and I think that is exactly how it's felt. And it's because we've...
Yeah, as far as I can tell, Alex Jones never been to Russia.
I mentioned this previously, that news organizations, when the Biden administration came in, they said...
I mean, Trump was already president. Biden was pretty horrible. I mean, I lived through it. I don't need to see back in a couple years.
Donald Trump had that impromptu press conference last night. This is what people expect from the White House. And for 4 years...
What's so horrible about Trump that you got to make hate comments about him?
From an administration that said that they were the most transparent administration in history. Last night when Donald Trump had his press conference, his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, was saying, this is what transparency looks like. And that is true. As he was signing the executive orders, he was taking questions from reporters. And he was really...
Hey, like and subscribe if you want to check back in a couple years.
There will be news broken when it breaks. This will be reactive. And I'm sure it's not always...
Where's my Trump supporters at, though? If you're a Trump supporter, make sure to vote in the polls. We can't let Biden win. He'll lose just like he lost the election because he had to pull out, I guess. Because the government forced him to.
Had to distract him because they simply can't do that. But what we are seeing is what the American people expected. And Paul, I tell you, for the last 4 years, when I've traveled around America and I tell them what I do, tell people what I do in Washington, D.C., and they want to know all about it, the first question they'll say is, who's actually running the country? From today, everyone knows who's running the country. It's Donald Trump.
And look, again...
And the oligarchs. Don't forget about the oligarchs. I'm just kidding. There is no oligarchs.
North Korean reporters which were saying, dear leader, why is everything amazing? Could you please tell us why you're amazing? It wasn't a Russian press conference.
Having their questions vetted, yeah.
It was, or literally being called out. Remember Biden used to stand there with those cards saying, I've been told I have to ask, and the whole charade that played out over the past 4 years.
And the whole question would be there,
that was the garbage. So again,
garbage.
Right?
Biden's garbage. Biden's garbage. We gotta take out the trash. Biden's garbage.
The first time when he comes in now is that built into the coverage the word chaos, which was all sort of the key word for every decision and every thing like those press conferences. That was built into the narrative of how...
What do you like or hate about Donald J. Trump? I need to know. Come on, talk to me, guys. What do you hate or what do you like about Trump?
This time around, does it? Because not only does he...
Please tell me something you hate about him.
He's got a professional series of people around him who are his people. He had to compromise with staff at the start, and he was bumping into the furniture. But he's got people around...
What interview? Interview of what? Somebody tell me something you don't like about Trump, or if you love the guy, tell me what you love about Trump.
Shut down leaks, keep things focused, and keep things on the message of the day.
Absolutely. I think it was just the sense the first time around that everyone was so shocked they got in there. And I think...
Hit the like and subscribe button, guys, if you're just joining in.
For him, having to fight against all these legal cases, I think has really focused him in on getting back in. But these are serious people he's surrounded himself with.
I looked it up. I didn't find anything.
That wasn't the assumption going into this. We've watched him with his appointments for the cabinet secretary positions.
Alex Jones, Vladimir.
Especially those economic portfolios. And at the end of the day, that's what Donald Trump wants. He wants to point at the stock market and say, I did that. Hey, and every American, 60% of Americans have at least some kind of investment in the stock market through 401k retirement savings or some
I see the interview.
mechanism. So the stock market does matter. There'll be people that tell you that this is a rich people thing. It's not. It's a really ordinary American thing. But also,
what does he talk about in the interview that's so offensive?
That is huge. I cannot.
Or that's Russian propaganda.
Over the last year, and when
what does he say? I have never seen it. I don't know this person either.
The businesses, it'll often be the transportation costs for things that is the thing that kills them. And so to say that we're going to start getting oil drilling back, we're going to get in a position where we're not having Russian oil going through around all these sanctions and actually costing the American taxpayer more at the end of the day. These are all things that are going to make a huge difference. And also just the signaling of Trump coming back and saying, I care about business, we're doing this. We're going to see more investment coming into America to keep Trump happy. That's a good thing for Americans, and it's a good thing for the economy. It's going to be what changes the tone of everything. Same with immigration. The tone matters, and he's already set that tone.
I mean, maybe he felt like America is no longer free under Biden. I mean, aren't the Democrats the ones that are acting like this is a dictatorship now under Trump? I can see what you mean, though. I 100% respect that opinion. He's a little bit of an outlandish guy. He just says stuff to get views.
President Trump's kicking butt and taking names as he turbocharges America into the golden.
He says a lot of fake stuff on purpose, even.
Will be making a massive infrastructure announcement at the White House.
Hit the like and subscribe button, though, guys. I really appreciate it. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers.
As he ruthlessly wipes away the stench of Joe Biden's awful record. So far, he's purged over 1,000 Biden appointees.
Decision of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others. A requirement that federal workers return to full-time in-person work immediately.
Dylan, are you a fan of Trump?
The guy's also on an executive order rampage, Roman Coliseum style. MAGA fans roared at the Capital One Arena as Trump sat at his desk on stage, pen in hand, churning out orders on gender, DEI, the TikTok ban, and ditching the Paris Climate Accord. And he was loving every second of it, tossing pens into the crowd like he was launching T-shirts from a cannon. The liberal media just can't handle this much winning.
He has decided to make good on his promise to be a dictator on day one.
There'll be a lawsuit over birthright citizenship. There'll be a lawsuit over suspending asylum. You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
There were a lot of big lies there.
Been president for a grand total of 11 hours, and he wasted no time imposing his will on American government.
I was prepared for shock and awe. This is just shock and awful.
The executive orders on DEI in prisons, migrant shelters, as well as in spaces like rape shelters, that could mean that people that are transgender could be moved out of those spaces.
Judge Judy, we did a little research. I was expecting people to laugh when I said that. And the amount of executive orders on day one for Biden or Obama, there's a couple. I mean, this is testament to how well he was prepared going in.
Well, first of all, when you listen to those left-wing progressive, hosts and talking heads, do they not understand what happened on November 5th? Do they not understand that everything the president was talking about as he signed those executive orders were promises that he made during the campaign, that he said he would do and that he was in the process of delivering?
Dylan, my question is, are you Russian or Ukrainian? Where are you from, Dylan? Where's everyone from? I like to hear where you guys coming from. I'm in Spain right now, but I'm a U.S. citizen from Florida.
What it needs to get this country back on track. I mean, Joe Biden was probably, to me, one of the worst presidents in history. He allowed an invasion of the border. They shut us up for 2 years by saying, we are people, we're xenophobes, we don't want other people coming into this country, therefore don't say it's an invasion. It's exactly what it was. They were unvetted.
Shout out Poland. Do you live in Poland or do you live in America?
Because secretaries of state and other states.
I'm living here in Barcelona.
And now, what you got are these people saying it's terrible. And Jay Johnson saying if it's not broke, don't fix it. Is the border not broke? Is law and order not broke in this country? And finally, let me just say, I love a president who can go from church in the morning to all kinds of ceremonies and inauguration, and then go to the arena, sign these orders, and then go to every ball. And,
I am in Spain. That's what I just said. I'm in Barcelona, Spain.
And invite them into the
But I'm from Florida. I'm a United States citizen. I was born in Florida, the U.S.
They're crazy on the left.
Speaking of, Jessica, we'll go to you.
But where are you now? Are you in the U.S.? Or are you in Poland?
My favorite as a Democrat or my favorite as an American?
I don't see why you.
Hey, whoever just voted for Trump.
Some partisanship going.
Oh yeah, I just played the cringy Bishop video.
American? I think to some degree, of course. I think
I played that already. I played it like twice or 3 times.
You know, like the back to work policy.
But yeah, that was pretty cringy.
Some people that I think have legitimate reason to need to work.
She was obviously lesbian, crying about lesbian rights. What part of the U.S.? No, she didn't lose any of her rights. She was gay before Trump, and she was gay after Trump.
I think that makes sense.
So what changed?
The DEI programs went too far, and everyone has accepted that in the public and the private sector, right? You have a huge surge of roles in companies large and small after the murder of George Floyd, and a lot of them have just quietly gotten rid of them even before it was clear that Donald Trump was going to win again. So
Bellamy salute.
Talk about the
Is that the salute that Elon was doing?
Who share the same aspirations and goals as former President Biden have said we're not going to make our targets. So obviously we need to reassess that to some degree. But when the judge says, you know, this is what the people voted for, some of it they absolutely did not. And Donald Trump promised that he would bring their costs down right away. And he revoked Biden's policy to lower prescription drug prices.
Bellamy salute, good point. The Bellamy salute is a palm-out salute created by James B. The gesture was to accompany the Pledge of Allegiance of the United States.
What do you mean?
There's a lot more to that issue. But
Guys, don't you know what the Bellamy salute is? This guy just educated me. Thank you, Christopher J. Rosel.
Have gone through the government process. People who helped us during the war in Afghanistan were translators, risking their lives. People were on target lists for the Taliban.
Guys, this has nothing to do with Germany. Look, this is the Bellamy salute. The Bellamy salute.
Trump did not hide any of this from anyone. And that's the difference.
You guys sat
The
here.
Bellamy salute. Shout out Christopher. You're educating people out here. If it wasn't people for like Christopher, we wouldn't be able to educate the community.
Americans who are still living, the American service members who passed away tragically, and the ones who are still living, but the people that helped us for years during that.
Trump should have got up and walked out when she said stuff like that. Absolutely. Trump is a lot kinder and a lot nicer than people give him credit for. Because even he didn't say anything nasty after that. When the reporters asked him, I don't know if you guys. Yeah, he was throwing his heart out to the world. I don't know if you guys saw, I'm not going to recap it all again because I already showed it. But I don't know if you saw that they asked him what he thought about it. Like, what did you think about the lady, the bishop or whatever? And he was like, what did you think of her? What did you think of her? And they're like, and he's like, not so good, huh? Not so good. And that's all he said. And just walked away. Something like that. He was even kinder than that, actually.
To revoke birthright citizenship for the children of people who are here legally.
Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, I do.
Tell me about it. Tell me what birthright citizenship meant.
Well, I think when Donald Trump was talking about it and disparaging people over here, he was talking about undocumented people who come and drop their anchor babies. He wasn't talking about people who are here on student visas, people who are here on H-1B visas.
You're always going to choose this weird exception. No, the fact is the system is being gamed. Americans voted for Donald Trump because they saw these systems, these institutions being gamed. The asylum issue, the birthright citizen issue, Title IX issues. Every single part of society was being gamed by the left. And finally, Americans got pushed too far.
8 votes. I need 8 of you guys to hit the like button right there to help the algorithm.
There are things, I go to a restaurant, I don't eat any seafood, but I like that restaurant because it's got steak. There are things that Trump will do that I will disagree with, but the entire package is as close as you're going to get to what Americans want. Trump is redefining basically what a human being can do in 24 hours.
Absolutely. This man works. Biden sleeps, he goes to the beach and vacations. That's it.
He had 3 balls last night. That's 3 more than Adam Kinzinger. The guy hasn't slept in 2 days. I mean, the thing is, it's amazing. It's possible. It is possible. Donald Trump could complete his presidency in 3 months. Right. And then he could just say, you know what? He goes, you know what? JD, you take it from here. I think I did everything I could do. It's incredible. And by the way, you brought up, and you said it was a good thing, you know, the fact that like these people have to go back to work, but then you mentioned all these challenges they have. Well, welcome to America.
We got 10 votes, guys. Let's get 10 likes. Come on. Run it up. I really appreciate every one of you guys. Regardless of you vote for whoever, this is about America and this is about the world and people together as a whole.
Because they have a sick loved one or a baby, but they aren't. They're coming to work. They should go.
South Park is awesome, bro. South Park is sick. What do I think about the Oval Office new design? I don't know. Let me see about that. Let me look that up real quick. Hold on.
I gotta bring up the Nazi hoax thing because we all.
Okay, no, we're not gonna. Wait, can we even talk about that?
BS. And yet
Okay, yo, let's talk about it.
Redefining losing every single day. Day one.
New Oval Office. Hold on.
Made a Nazi salute. Right. And I'm beginning to think, you know, they know they're lying. So why are they doing it? Why are they doing this? Because they realize they cannot rebuild their credibility. They're like a fat guy on death row. What's the point?
I don't see anything for a new Oval Office design.
Looking forward to that last meal. Dana Perino, your thoughts?
I just add a couple things. So, but one of the things President Trump was doing was not creating new policy. He was getting rid of policies that Biden had put in place that people said they didn't want. And then ending DEI was 70%, so they supported that. Ending the EV mandates, that was 70%. Finishing the border wall and deportation, 70%. Now, they might not have gotten there without Joe Biden's broken border policy. That might have been a lower number, but that's where they were on election day. Getting men out of women's sports, that was like an 80-20 issue, maybe even more. And so it wasn't so much that there was like, oh.
I agree, actually. He has a lot more colorful. Trump is more old school style for the design. He made it more old school, you know, like his Oval Office is a bit.
Like everything on the restaurant menu. You just
Trump's.
have to like a few things. And you,
Biden's was like a new school Oval Office, a new gen.
Kellyanne, you know, I thought this was interesting. This piece by Walter Russell Mead in the Wall Street Journal.
Do you guys want to see a comparison of the Oval Offices? Should I show it on video? Biden versus Trump's Oval Office? Let me get one more comment and I'll show it.
The enduring strength
if anyone's interested.
Social forces that have for more than 2 centuries made America uniquely hospitable to the disruption and chaos that dynamic capitalism inevitably brings. And I know David Asman's going to love that concept. But Kellyanne, let me get your thoughts.
All right, I'll show you guys. You guys want to see it? All right, let's show it. This is going to be like a direct comparison. Trump's Oval Office versus Biden's. But this is only like a minute long or 2 minute long thing. We're going to discuss it and that's it. So here, let's show. Let me show the screen around.
President Trump is back in the Oval Office, and the room looks very similar to how it appeared in his first term. President Biden made a few changes to the famous office, hanging a portrait of Benjamin Franklin near the desk.
I do like that.
A portrait of President Roosevelt.
I won't lie, this is beautiful as well. I think Trump has something kind of similar with Lincoln and these people, but this part is absolutely gorgeous.
The mantle. He also placed the dark blue Clinton-era rug on the floor.
I'm not gonna lie, I do like Clinton's rug too. I really do like that. What do you guys think about the rug? Like, I really love this table, and it looks even better with the rug. And with Benjamin Franklin right there, it does look like a warm, welcoming White House for sure. But, you know, obviously it wasn't because we got Camilla over here.
Trump has now returned a portrait of Andrew Jackson to the wall next to his desk, which is the same place he had it during his first term. He also returned a portrait of George Washington over the mantle. I
love that.
Returning the lighter colored Reagan era rug.
I'll be honest. I mean, I see why he did the Reagan era rug. Obviously, "Make America Great Again" was Reagan's phrase, but
Several military flags that surround the room. While every president makes changes to the Oval Office to suit their taste and preferences, Trump is the first president to return to the Oval Office for a second non-consecutive term. The Oval Office had not yet been built when Grover Cleveland served 2 non-consecutive terms during the late 19th century.
well, that was that, guys. Have you guys heard about Stargate? That's a little bit interesting. Let's see what else we got. Bernie Sanders, how to oppose Trump. Oh, yeah, no. Biden's Christmas. Do you guys want to see Biden's Christmas? Bill was on Epstein's Express 26 times. He sure was, good sir. He sure was. Hit the like and subscribe button. What do you guys want to see? You want to see the Christmas Trump versus Biden? All right, we'll show the Christmas Trump versus Biden. We're on designs now. We're talking about design stuff. Trump versus Biden Christmas. Let's see what we can find. Melania Trump versus Jill Biden. White House decorations. Jill Biden? This is just a joke, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is just a joke. Is it? I have no actual clue if this is serious or is just a joke. Trump? Biden. You're kidding me, right? That's crazy. That's actually Biden's? Nah, that's wild. That is wild. Bro, I'm surprised they would even let... That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, it doesn't look real. There's no way. Biden's doesn't look real. That's what I'm telling you. Oh my god. He's right. Wow, look at that beautiful Trump tree. Wow, that is disturbing. Yeah, I could not believe what I just saw. I didn't even see that. Was that last Christmas, like, a month ago? Luckily, I did not see that. That is disturbing. What do you guys want to see now? Trump versus Biden? No, there's nothing else to show you. Trump versus Biden. It's over. It looks like something out of a new age woke cartoon. Bro, Disney can't make something that woke and that crazy. What is it called? The Bellamy Salute. Elon Musk. Bellamy Salute. Bellamy. Bellamy Salute.
Well, I imagine you all saw that. We're going to look at the lines of...
Oh my gosh, this is like a French dude. He's doing it like in an AI voice. I don't think so.
Joining me now is Newsweek opinion editor Bhatia Unga-Sargan. Bhatia, nice to speak to you again. Thank you for joining me. I want to start with Elon Musk's one-armed gesture that he gave during President Trump's inauguration, which the
Does each
tiresome
presidential
left are now
design their
claiming
gardens
was a
differently? I can't remember. Okay, that's a good question. Let me look that up now. Biden's White House garden. Yeah, everyone look up Bellamy salute if you don't know what Elon Musk did. White House gardens. Is that a joke? I don't see anything about White House garden. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they make it differently. Oh wait, no, they do it differently. To undo the White House rose garden. No, they don't. I don't know if they do it differently. I can't find anything on that one.
Nazi salute, when in reality he was literally saying during the speech, in that moment, my heart goes out to you. But I've got to play you this clip of CNN. Have a look at what they said about it.
That salute was evocative of things that we have seen through history. It was quick. I think our viewers are smart and they can take a look at that, but it certainly was. It's not something that you typically see.
They aren't too smart. Not many people are educated on the Bellamy salute.
Media still so desperate to create false narratives. They just seem desperate for drama and controversy that simply doesn't exist.
Talk about lefties losing it. What I love about that clip is that it's clear that it is sunk into the minds of those CNN anchors that they, along with a few other outlets, have just been sued for defamation, right? They know that. And so they can't quite bring themselves to say what they're trying to imply, which is that it was a Nazi salute. So they call it a gesture that we recognize from history or some such nonsense. It's so absolutely hilarious. And you are, of course, on the money. They absolutely need to cast their political opponents as Nazis because they have nothing else. Donald Trump just won with a massive mandate to rule from the vast majority of people living in American swing states, the vast majority of the working class. He turned out to be a great uniter of people, regardless of race or region or where they worked or what they worked in, after being cast as this deplorable Hitler-like divisive character for 10 years by these exact same liberal media pundits and Democratic elites across the board. So really, we're seeing them trying once again to do what they did much more successfully in 2016. Fortunately, the American people just aren't buying it anymore.
No, they're certainly not. But CNN, gosh, they're just brainwashed. Meanwhile, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has accused the Anti-Defamation League of defending a Hail Hitler salute and claimed that the anti-Semitism watchdog group works for President Trump and his allies. Now, this comes after that group defended Elon Musk's gesture, prompting this post from AOC. She said, people can officially stop listening to you as any sort of reputable source of information now. You work for them. Oh, look, Bhatia, AOC is desperately grappling at straws once again.
I'm still laughing about this.
Oversimplified? Huh. I think so, yeah, I've seen them.
Did she mean like that the ADL works for Trump, or did she mean ADL works for like the Nazis? It was so hilarious, especially because the ADL is unbelievably woke and spent the last 20 years catering desperately.
Guys, you see one thing on her neck?
To have it thrown in their face.
Pretty sure she's Jewish. So I think if anything, she could talk about this.
Chuckling about it. It is so ridiculous and over the top. This used to be very threatening because they had this monopoly on information through the liberal media. About 96% of American journalists are liberals or progressives. And so you had this thing happen where their view that Donald Trump or the MAGA movement or anybody who likes him or votes for him is literally Hitler this is something that people used to buy, but it's so clear now when the majority of Hispanic men, 25% of Black men, 46% of Hispanics overall, millions and millions of Americans who are not white, who are people of color, so many Jews. I mean, these are people who found a home in the MAGA movement because the left just has simply abandoned them to cater to these ridiculous far left extreme radical views of the left. And so now they're in this camp and they're just not going to believe that a man like Donald Trump, whose heart obviously beats for the American working class, whose singular promise is to put Americans first, they're not going to believe anymore that he's surrounded himself with Nazis. And I'll just say one more word about Elon Musk. This is a person who went to Israel after October 7th. This is a person who went on a tour of Auschwitz. This is a person who met with the families of the hostages taken by Hamas. This is a person who has been a friend to the Jews for a very long time. And I say that as perhaps one of his most vocal critics in America. I think he's very close with the Chinese Communist Party. I think he's really wrong on immigration. I am out there criticizing him every day. The idea that this person harbors secret Nazi views is simply ridiculous. And honestly, I don't even think the people saying it believe it.
No, it's the left.
No, they do believe it. That's why they're psychotic.
America has changed and they are still stuck in the past, I think.
At least I can say unfounded jokes like Joe Biden has Alzheimer's and stuff like that. They'll say stuff that is obviously
Already
incorrect.
served years in prison, and they've served him viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a
Guys, get me to
terrible
5 likes at least. One more like for now. Someone hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers.
Firm on that. He was always going to do this.
And I do these political live streams, every day, every other day.
A small attempt made to distinguish between people who had been convicted of violent crimes and the vast majority of people who were convicted of things like trespassing and other nonviolent crimes. About 16 of them had their sentences commuted, not pardoned. I think this was a big mistake. I think this was an obvious, easy thing to do. You hit a police officer, you touch a cop.
They did 3 years in prison.
And I think the reason that they changed tack on this, because it did seem like they were going to do what I would think would have been the right thing to do, which is only to pardon the ones who had nonviolent offenses. That's what J.D. Vance.
Okay, guys, I really don't care what they're saying. I mean, unless you killed someone, you shouldn't be getting, 10 years in prison for punching a cop. I'm sorry to say that, but you really shouldn't be getting that much time. I think a few years is more than enough.
Said that they were planning to do about a week ago. I think what happened was...
Especially when these cops were brought there by the FBI or the CIA. No, I think it's the CIA, actually, according to Trump.
Biden, with his blanket pardons for his family, with his preemptive pardons for Fauci and the January 6th committee, which came out literally the morning of the inauguration. I think what happened was the Trump camp felt like this was such a blow to the rule of law that they had to meet that with something.
I honestly never heard of a Black Lives Matter person, writer getting time. And also, doing 3 or 4 years for punching a cop, I think is way too much time, if you want my personal opinion. Especially if you didn't break a jaw, break any teeth out or anything like that. That's just ridiculous. That's abuse of power. That's them getting more punishment because they hit a cop.
Thing for their side to show what Biden, the kind of precedent Biden had started. Now, again, I don't think...
Like they're saying, why would they let out the violent offenders? Why would they let out the violent offenders? Well, why do some murderers and rapists get a couple years and that's it? But yet these people that punched a cop, no, they should stay in prison. They should stay in prison. But the murderers and the rapists, they get let go after a couple years.
Stood fast on this. You touch a cop.
Trump said that himself. He said he knows murderers that got less time than some of these people that punched a cop.
I arrived back here on the scene. The Justice Department has been weaponized, and so we can't...
That's one of the reasons he said, let's let out the violent ones even.
And so that's the decision that they ultimately made.
That makes sense. I do take your point on that. And I want to bring up the war in Ukraine because Donald Trump raised that in this press conference. Have a look.
We're talking to Zelensky. We're going to be talking with President Putin very soon. and we'll see how it all happens.
Now, Bhatia, he has previously vowed to bring peace to that conflict.
I hope the conflict ends this week, I'll be honest.
Now moving forward,
I hope he does something big this week. I know he will. He already has, but
because leading up
something
to
bigger.
the inauguration, I was sure that it would be much easier to get Putin and Zelensky to the table than it would Hamas and Israel. And amazingly, he managed to get Hamas and Israel to the table and has not yet succeeded with Zelensky and Putin. He did say in this press conference that he would be willing to impose sanctions on Russia if Putin doesn't come to the table soon, which to me suggested that the holdup is on the Russian end rather than the Ukrainian end. But I guess we'll see. This is something he wants very much. He could not have put a better person in charge of the Department of State than Marco Rubio.
Biden pardoned all these innocent people, forcing Trump to focus on being president. No, Trump is still going to come for them. Oh, there's my boy. I can't wait to see what he's going to do. RFK Jr.
America safer and does it make America more prosperous? That is going to be the guiding light of Donald Trump's foreign policy through Marco Rubio, and I think this is
No, Trump will try to still prosecute them any way he can. A federal pardon only pardons you at a federal level, not at a state level. They can still be charged at a state level.
But it does ask what are our interests here, and I think that's great.
Dr. Fauci can still go to Florida State Prison or Wyoming State Prison or Texas State Prison. He just can't go to the government. For crimes against humanity, of course.
Have a listen to this.
Los Angeles has massive amounts of water available to it. All they have to do is turn the valve, and that's the valve coming back from and down from the Pacific Northwest, where millions of...
I would love to tell you, but I honestly can't discuss it here on YouTube. Otherwise, they'll find, they'll say I can't monetize my channel anymore, which will be unfortunate because I'm about to reapply again.
Bhatia, I thought this was quite important because we know that
if you want to talk one-on-one about it or have open discussions, I have a Discord where we can talk more stuff about Dr. Fauci. My Discord is in my YouTube bio.
It is very contentious.
If you want the Discord, I'll even send it in the chat right now. Let me know.
Who used to have a lot of
if anyone wants to join my Discord, let me know. I'll pin it in the chat.
And who are going to be looking for a new political party. And honestly, if Donald Trump is going to welcome them with open arms, you could see a mass exodus of these sort of wealthy Californians, former Democrats, into the arms of the GOP.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not talking about masks. I'm not talking about masks. The thing I'm talking about, I can't fully discuss it here, but it looks like this. But if I say the word, I literally get kicked off of YouTube, so I can't say it. But you know what it is. They gave about 7 of them, 6 of them. I didn't get one.
Initial schedule that today roundups of criminal illegal aliens in the process.
That's what the crimes against humanity are, not masks. Masks are fine, People have been wearing masks forever, and like even in Japan and China, they're really popular before COVID.
Now, Bhatia, this was, of course, a key election process.
I see that we got a Biden-Harris supporter here, Dr. GT3. I hope you have a GT3 Porsche at least, do you? I can't even say that word on here, doctor. If you even are a doctor. I can't say the word that you just said because of censorship of the Biden and Harris administration.
Economic issue when it comes to working class people.
A turbo 911 or a GT3 turbo?
From the working class with whom especially.
Tell me what kind of car you have. I'm a big Porsche German car automobiles fanboy.
In which Donald Trump unified the working class and won the election by
911 turbo, that's sick. What year? Is it a newer one or is it more of a classic one? My friend had a 2021 GT4.
As recently as the 1990s, because whatever side is catering to the working class is going to be the side advocating for much.
Wow, that's awesome.
And controlling the border is the.
I mean, you're a doctor. Of course, you're going to love these things. Oh, wow, manual? Yeah, bro, it has to be manual. Great choice. Great choice. Is it posted on your YouTube? I would definitely check it out if it is.
To get started on this.
Definitely make some YouTube posts of it. I'll check it out.
Service the American people, and I think you see that in a lot of these pics Donald Trump has for his
Doctor, how do you feel? I mean,
oriented public servants, which is something we haven't seen for a long
how do you
time.
feel, doctor?
That is a
Obviously,
man
you
who
make your
means
money from
business.
the
You
medical
can tell
business.
he
How
is-
do you
he
feel
is
about
right
Fauci, and how do you feel about
that he's gonna
Trump?
get it done.
First, tell us about how you
He's
feel
gonna
about
go down.
Fauci. How do you feel about Dr. Fauci? What's your opinions on him? Is he a great man?
Said that the Democratic Party had
Do you think
abandoned
Fauci is a
him,
great
and every
human
day
savior,
he's also claiming the Biden
or did he make you a lot of
administration
money?
pushed him
How do
to
you
be
feel?
vocal about the migrant crisis.
And also, what kind of
He's a big
doctor?
apple. He's spoken to Tucker Carlson.
People often say, well, you don't sound like a Democrat. And, you seem to have left the party. No, the party left me and it left working class people. Like Venezuelan gang leaders that were coming to the city, creating crimes.
And so you tell the president and his aides this, and what do they say?
I've had a doctor on my show before, actually. He wasn't really a big fan of Dr. Fauci, though.
Republicans created this mess. And we need to fix this mess with real immigration reform.
Bartia, I thought that this was quite a frank admission that he made to Tucker Carlson. In your view, what does it say really about how the Biden administration treated people who stood up against their lack of action on what are very serious key issues like this one?
It is both the case that they got very angry at Eric Adams and sidelined one of President Biden's top surrogates because he complained about immigration. And, I think what he's doing here is very clever. He's trying to take the issue that he was penalized by the Democrats over and use that to...
I do agree on some points. Crying about it in this day's age is a wasted breath. But, this is my channel. Everything's for entertainment purposes. The more people react to me, the more successful I can become. That's kind of how social media works. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Probably because you made all your money being a doctor. But I respect what you do, and I respect your opinions. And thank you for tuning in. I'm not here to discuss those, guys. I told you I'm not here to discuss medicine. Obviously, we need vaccines. Vaccines are everything, guys. We need vaccines, especially measles, stuff like that. Everything. I'm not against it at all. I'm 100% for vaccines. I never said anything bad about them. And I don't want to upset YouTube's community guidelines because apparently you have to, follow everything the World Health Organization says and advises. Otherwise, it's against community guidelines. So if I say anything against it, then that would make me a bad person. And also, I would be kicked off YouTube. Yeah, I'm talking about the future. We're here talking about Trump, and we're here talking about the future of America. That's what mainly the show is about, but somehow people get triggered when I say certain things. But I love it.
Very smart thing to do if he's going to help Donald Trump.
All I know is I don't have any of them. Nothing from COVID I don't have.
Some allegations against
So,
him that I think probably
I'll
have
leave
a
it
lot
at
of
that.
merit, unfortunately. So I don't see him quite clawing his way completely out of the hole, but this is a very smart thing for him to be doing right now.
That is a very, very fair point. Now, we mentioned earlier the war in Ukraine, but in terms of the Middle East, Donald Trump has said that he's not confident that Israel's...
I hope Trump can end the war in Ukraine maybe this week. I know that's kind of optimistic, but...
Their war, I am not confident, but I think they're very weakened on the other side. But as you alluded to earlier, Donald Trump's influence...
So, doctor, when did you start supporting Biden?
But is he right in what he says there? Because...
Did you slowly become woke, or was it kind of overnight you became woke? I would love to know.
I think at this point, as ironic as this is to say, Hamas
Like, doctor, did you wake up one day and become woke? Oh, you didn't?
wants its hostages back, but it also
All right,
desperately
even more
wants to
respect
go
for
in
you.
and finish the job that it
But you didn't
started.
vote for Trump, obviously.
Hamas, I think, realizes that they're sort of on
Or am I wrong? I'm not one to say who you voted for, obviously. I don't know anything. I don't know shit. So,
they want whatever leverage they can get out of this moment right now when they still have those hostages. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has promised Benjamin Netanyahu that he can go back in and
well, that's a good question. The definition of woke is a hard one, but I would consider you woke if you DIE higher. Definitely didn't vote for Trump. He's beta. I can agree on a lot of things about Trump, but I wouldn't call him a beta. What would you say makes him a beta? He dominates every single room he walks into. Someone that dominates every single room they walk into, I don't think would be considered a beta. But that's just my personal opinion. Like, not even when he was in president, he would do that. Like, I can agree a lot of things about Trump that they say negative, this or that. Okay, maybe that's a bit beta. There you go. I get that. That's a good point. Good one. Respect to that one. That's a valid point. But I will say I do kind of agree with him about it being rigged, but I don't think it was rigged like he said it was. I think the election in 2020 was more rigged on a fact like that every single media outlet was one-sided. There wasn't any media that allowed free speech. You couldn't talk about certain things without being censored. You couldn't talk about COVID. You couldn't talk about anything without it being censored. Like, not on Twitter, not on Facebook. You couldn't talk about really anything about Trump too much on those platforms even. Otherwise, it would be censored. I can give more and more examples, but that's the way I think the election was quote-unquote rigged. Obviously, in every election, I think there'll be fake votes on both sides for both people. But I that's not really the main reason I would say it's rigged. The main reason I would say it was rigged or like a fake election was, there's too much one-sided media controlled by all the people all the billionaires owned the media companies that were all liberals and one-sided. Now we have some, more right-wing people that own social media companies. But you can also say that a lot of people say that about the election in 2024, that it was rigged because Elon bought Twitter or whatever. But now now there's more platforms that are left and right wing. Before there wasn't really any platform where you could openly criticize stuff, Like, you couldn't really say what you want. But I will say, apparently on Elon's platform, it's not really too free speech either, I'll be honest. Like, if you say something that's way off the walls, you can get removed. I've seen it before, but I think that's all I got to say about that for right now.
October 7th, do they do everything they can to rescue the hostages, or do they prosecute?
I always say what I want, but I will say I'm kind of mad at Mark Zuckerberg. Like, he is such a phony. He's what's the word for it? He's disingenuous. Like, he's not like a genuine guy. Like, he talked about how he's for freedom of speech or whatever now. I always had apparently a freedom of speech. Like, I couldn't even call my own friend. Like, here's an example. I'm not going to say everything that I said, but I couldn't call my friend, like English people, when they go for a cigarette, they say, let me get a fag, like a cigarette. We're talking about freedom of speech. So here's an example. When I was on Mark Zuckerberg's platform, Instagram, I couldn't even say, like, you're a fag to one of my friends without getting removed. Like, literally, I couldn't say that. The comment was censored. Instantly didn't allow me doing that. And not long after that, I lost my Instagram and my Meta accounts completely for just making dumb comments and just, like, saying whatever I want. I lost them all. I can't make a new Facebook account. I can't make a new Instagram account on my phone ever. Every time I make one, it instantly gets banned and deleted. And even after Mark Zuckerberg said he's from freedom of speech and lied after Trump won, he never gave me my accounts back. The one thing I respect about Elon is he restored a lot of the accounts that were suspended and deleted. Hello, India. Tamal Nudu. Sorry if I butchered your name. Those aren't government censors. Those are private company policies. I would agree with you, except that literally Mark Zuckerberg, did you not see the thing he posted on Twitter like during the election, saying that the Biden administration had him censor things politically about politics and also about COVID specifically? Then you did. That's obviously government censoring me. The government told the private company to censor me. So technically the private company did censor me, yes, but the government told the private company to censor me. What city are you from? I'm in Barcelona, Spain, but I am from Fort Myers, Florida, Southwest Florida area, kind of close to Miami on the other coast. The government did censor me technically. And technically, I still think a lot of the policies that are on some social media companies are still in place. Not sure how it is for YouTube because I haven't heard anything from anyone at YouTube. But I guess the CEO of Google was with Trump, so maybe they'll discuss something. I don't know. Where in India are you from?
the war and try to defeat their enemy. And it's a horrific, horrific decision because, of course, those are in tension with each other. And I really don't envy Netanyahu for having.
Oh, another thing I can give an example about a government organization censoring me is I guess YouTube says there's some kind of thing where they got to comply with the World Health Organization. Like they're forced to, like anything that they say, I guess they can't go against. Yeah, I'm from the US, but I'm in Spain. I'm from the United States, but I'm in Spain. Yeah, I guess they said we have to comply with everything the World Health Organization says, and if you say anything that goes against it, that'll be considered misinformation, and we will deplatform you off of YouTube. Luckily, I believe everything Catalonia, like Barcelona. That's where I'm at. I'm in Catalonia. Barcelona, like the East Spain. Awesome. That's super cool. But yeah, I'm in Barcelona. I don't know if you've ever been there. I definitely recommend going.
It's October 7th.
That's cool. Where are you from, Dr. GT3?
Look, all I can say is, as Americans, we have Israel's back again now in a way that we really didn't under the Biden administration, and thank God for that.
No, you're absolutely spot on. Now, we're almost out of time, but
She's cute. Her, I don't know about her, I'll be honest.
Because official Kamala Harris
I don't like her hair.
merchandise has been spotted selling at half price, including tote bags with a portrait of the smiling former vice president. Oh,
nice. Shout out Portland.
Now she's half price. She's on sale.
It's so depressing. And I will just say this, you have a lot of Democrats sort of taking stock, trying to figure out, okay, where do we go from here? Here's the thing that's been bothering me so much about it. They don't actually have this sense of, well, we want to win because we want to do this for the American people. They're standing there asking themselves, well, what can we offer the American people so that we can win? It's sort of not just the death of, the party.
Yeah, I don't even care about Camilla anymore. I'm not watching this. Who cares? Let's see if we can find anything else going on. Oh, this is an interesting one.
This is a drawing by Ross Ulbricht, who is an inmate at the United States Penitentiary in Tucson, Arizona, a maximum security federal prison.
I'll spend the next few decades in this cage, then sometime later this century.
Camilla will never win, and she will never run for president again.
I'll finally leave prison, but I'll be in a body bag.
Ross
Guys.
was arrested at 29. Now he's 40. He faces a double life sentence plus 40 years with no possibility.
This is the guy that created the Silk Road.
A dark web marketplace that facilitated $1.2 billion in Bitcoin-denominated transactions. But a second chance might be coming from an unlikely savior.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
Trump made a deal with the Libertarian Party, and now Ross might not have to spend his middle and old age behind bars.
I like Bernie. He's all right, but no, Bernie's not going to beat Trump. Bernie's a disingenuous piece of crap. I'll say that about Bernie. He's disingenuous and he's a piece of crap. All he discusses is income equality. Income equality. Income equality. First off, I don't believe in income equality. Second off, look up Bernie Sanders' net worth. It's about over $5 million he has in his big fat bank account. And he's telling people that everyone needs to be paid the same, income equality, socialism this, socialism that. Like, get the fuck out of here with that $5 million in your bank account. Give me $1 million or give me 100,000. Come on, that's what you believe in, right? Giving out your money. Give it to me then. Like, stop talking about income equality when you're not going to give me anything. Nah, he hasn't been saving in 70 years for 70 years. Look it up. Look up on Forbes right now. He made about, I mean, I'll be honest, it's not a lot of money. Like, it sounds like a lot of money the way I say it, but you're right. He's 70 years old. 5 million isn't like a life, like that's enough to retire with basically for him. Even maybe less than a lot of people need to retire, to be fair. A lot of people need 5 to 10 million to retire, which is correct. But because they're really rich and they live really expensively. But either way, he's not practicing what he preaches. And it says he's made $5 million in about 5 to 10 years. He's made $2 million as a politician in 3 years. It's all on Forbes. Look up Bernie Sanders on Forbes. Like, it's just disturbing. It's disgusting. Like, I would respect the guy if he was living like Tim Walz. Okay, I get he's a senator. He can give the money away, though. He believes in income equality. Why doesn't he give it away? I haven't found anything saying he's giving it away. The only thing that I can respect about Tim Walz, because he likes to put tampons in men's bathrooms. That's freaking disgusting. But the only thing I can actually respect about Tim Walz is he's an actual, like, he seems like the first genuine guy that's a politician to run for, you know, vice president, a presidential position that's actually broke. Like, he's not broke, but he's actually being real about when he says, like, he's not living better than, like, a middle-class person. He has, like, $100,000 salary or whatever, and he has a whole family. So when you break that down, he's real, and he doesn't have any stocks or anything like that, Tim Walz, which I guess is all admirable stuff, but he does have, like, a pension plan, I guess. That's the only thing Tim Walz had, but I guess that's the one good thing I got to say about Tim Walz. Tampon Tim.
You might not have to leave in a body bag if Trump makes good.
Meanwhile, this guy,
Will he?
Bernie Sanders, got like $10 million.
Officers and DOJ attorneys may dredge up lies about Ross so that Trump will change his mind. They may appeal to some of his draconian instincts. They may try to pin on Ross some of the disastrous
I do agree with you. You're probably a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire yet myself. So I'm going to talk a little bit of crap because I'm not a millionaire yet. But I do want to say, like, I really don't think there's that much difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. I understand that a billion is 1,000 millions or whatever. But there gets to a point where you're so rich and greedy. Like, let's be real. Bernie Sanders could have 100,000 in his bank and live off donations. He doesn't need that fat stack of $10 million in his bank account. He can give a little bit of it to the homeless, to the needy. He can even invest it in young entrepreneurs and business people. That would be smarter than just hogging it. That's my only problem with the guy. I like what he says, but that's my only problem with the guy.
Outcomes of the drug war. But once you hear the full story, you'll see why Trump should ignore the saboteurs and keep his promise to free Ross.
There should be some things on billionaires where they're forced to help the poor people get rich, you know? There should be some kind of thing. That's the only way I feel like it would ever change. If they give their money away or some crap like that, that's not going to help. They need the billionaires directly to... Nowadays, a millionaire is more normal. Billionaires are the rich ones. Yeah, I understand that. I understand there's probably millionaires listen to me. I know, like, millionaires, they're really normal people and stuff like that. I understand billionaires are in a hierarchy, but really, let's not demonize the two. Let's not make it that different, you know? I disagree with you. I don't think it's normal to have $5 million at Bernie's age. Let's break down the math. That might be normal to someone in California or Portland. I'll be honest. That is normal to someone in California or Portland, Oregon. But where I'm from, if you're talking about like the trenches, the real society out there, guys, there's no people where I come from. No, the average person is not having $5 million. If you have $5 million, yeah, that's because your parents are successful. Your parents are wildly successful, buddy. Like, let's be honest here. They did good in life. They're not screw-ups. Like, they did good. Yeah, Vermont is a nice area. I've been there. It's a very nice area. I'm not new to money or anything. I've been around millionaires and even some billionaires a couple handful of times. No one that I can name off the top of my head. I do know a lot of people that are 18 and 19 and they're millionaires. That's what I'm saying. But I also do know someone below 50 with $1 billion. Yeah, but that's your parents' generation. People that are 40, people that are over 35 need to understand that this generation is a lot different than your parents' generation. Or your parents' generation, they can go to school, become a doctor, be successful. Then when they're like, 70, they'll have 5, 10, 20, 30 million. People that are growing up now, it's so much harder. Like, I know people already heard this a million times before. I'm not gonna, just keep reiterating the same statement. But realistically, if you're just working as a doctor or working as not a doctor, if you're working like some normal job, realistically, you're not gonna just have like $5 million like your parents did. I don't know what your parents did though. They probably did some good job. And honestly, between two adults, that's only 2.5 million each. That's 2.5 million each. So you're right, they should have at least 5 million. To me, I don't think if you're 70, I don't think 5 million is your crazy rich lavish living. That's not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was that with 5 million, you don't need all of it. Like you're already 70. How much longer do you really have on earth? You don't have another 80, 50, 80 years realistically. So you don't need that much money. And Bernie is so well loved and respected, people will just pay his bills for him. Let's be honest on that too. He can just give away his money. That's my personal opinion. Maybe it sounds crazy or kind of stupid, but
library was like a scene from an action movie. He was downloading an interview with Vince Gilligan.
He just doesn't practice what he preaches.
In another window, he was administering the
Bernie is all about income equality. That's what he claims. And people paying more taxes. Why doesn't he give all his money to the government? Why doesn't Bernie give all his money to the government? He says billionaires don't pay enough. He's a millionaire. He can pay more.
Undercover FBI agents staged a physical fight behind him. When he turned his head to observe the commotion, an undercover agent snatched his laptop before he could close the cover, which would have encrypted the contents of its hard drive. The FBI keeps a picture of the computer on display as a trophy from the hunt. Ross was no Walter White, the frustrated high school chemistry teacher who transforms into a violent drug kingpin in Vince Gilligan's series, driven by his lust for power and retribution. Ross was an Eagle Scout who majored in material science and engineering at the University of Texas at Dallas on a full scholarship. He was passionate about libertarian philosophy and Austrian economics.
If Bernie wants to, the funny part is I don't think he does want to pay more. Bernie, if he wanted to pay more, I never heard of the IRS declining a free check. I've never heard of the IRS declining a free paycheck.
As Ludwig von Mises and Murray Rothbard, he wrote on LinkedIn that he wanted to use economic theory as a means to abolish the use of coercion. And
this guy was a genius, and his life was thrown away because of a small mistake.
First-hand experience of what it would be like to live in a world without the systemic use of force.
I was trying to do something good. I was trying to help us move toward a good college from a single prison.
And he did. Ross created an underground e-commerce website called the Silk Road, and he was its first vendor.
Yeah, but that's not the same as making a donation to the IRS. They don't decline donations.
Selling homegrown psilocybin mushrooms, the Silk Road became the eBay of drugs, with trusted sellers earning higher ratings and the mess.
I just came on. I just somehow came here, 43, born, battled my way all my life. What the fuck is this young blood on? Location and time, and stop whining. I'm not whining, buddy. I'm just being honest about today's society. You guys had it a lot easier. We're dealing with the biggest inflation crisis in the world. The fact that I can do everything on my own, I have my own place, everything like that, just from working hard and stuff like that and saving money is good. But a lot of people can't do that nowadays because, the society is a lot more difficult. There's a reason people were moving out at 18 and now they're 30-something moving out on average.
No stolen goods.
I made my money through crypto during COVID. Took it, invested, and bought a business when I was 18, going strong now. And allowed me to venture to other interests and make more money. Winning or whining? A little bit of both. I whine why I win. That's my personality. I'll always do the work, and I'll always get the wins, but I might complain sometimes. And congratulations for you, Durham Ellis. I'm glad you made your money through crypto during COVID. I made a lot of money during COVID through stocks. That's how I made my money. But I'm sure you made a lot of money through crypto as well. Crypto's a great space. I've invested in crypto, but I'll be honest, not really as big as returns for me as the stock market. The stock market for me has been my place. But if you want to be honest, moving forward in 2025, I do kind of think the big investments and the smart investments will be more and more in crypto. So if you know a thing about crypto, you'll do great. And always make sure to pay your taxes.
Our basic rules are to treat others as you would wish to be treated and don't do anything to hurt or
No, I
someone
think he meant
else.
whining because he said I was whining or whatever because I said it was harder or whatever. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'll work harder since things are harder now than they were when people were in the 90s or in the early 2000s. When some of you guys were 20. I'm not 20, I'm a bit older than that. But when some of you guys were, in your 20s, in the early 2000s or whatever, it's a lot easier back then. Now, you don't just look at the apartment price, 2000s, right? You probably got about early 2000s, maybe I'm wrong, depends on the area, maybe about $500 for the apartment. Now where I live, or now where I'm from, the apartments are about minimum for a 1 bedroom or a studio, $1,700 to $2,400 a month. And if you find a real shit box, maybe 15 or 1600. When did you buy crypto? You said you bought crypto during the pandemic. Bitcoin wasn't 1700 a coin during the pandemic. The lowest I remember Bitcoin dropping during 2019 was the 4,000. So, when did you buy a Bitcoin for 2200? That's my question. Haven't done much since. Got out while I was ahead type stuff. Well, I have a whole Discord about entrepreneurs, business people. We got doctors in there. We got bankers. We're always discussing politics, investments, stock markets, cryptos, and stuff like that. If you want to join my Discord and discuss some of it, it's free. Link is in bio, or I can even send the link here on the YouTube Live if some of you are interested. Damn, you sold all your Bitcoin back then. You must be pinching yourself right now, right? That's at 100 and something thousand.
Trying to help us move toward a freer and more equitable world.
All right, doctor. Good night. Hopefully you liked and subscribed. You're an interesting man to talk to. Appreciate your time. Peace out. Thanks for joining in.
Credit card companies to stop servicing gun shops, adult websites, and payday lenders, even though what they were doing was completely legal. The Silk Road demonstrated that with Bitcoin, you could buy things on the internet by circumventing the payment rails that the government controlled. Online trade had become virtually unstoppable.
Back then, Bitcoin made me feel like anything was possible. When the idea of Bitcoin really clicked for me, I got so excited. I thought, with Bitcoin, I can try to do something that actually makes a difference.
Ross became a hero to libertarians.
He has 2 life sentences and never committed a violent crime.
The guy has been condemned to rot in prison for setting up a website.
They created a smoke screen and used the charges of murder for hire, which they didn't even end up charging in the end.
Now would be the perfect time to revisit Ross's injustices and set the man free.
But others say he got exactly what he deserved.
This is a judge who finally got it right.
Right. All right. We all agree here on that?
Concur.
Life in prison without parole?
Yep.
Anybody else, any other wise guys want to do it? That's what you're going to get.
We all know the road to hell.
That's facts, brother. You can't look back and say, what if? You just got to look at new projects to invest in.
Does he deserve this fate? As Ross became paranoid that he'd be caught, did he stray from his high-minded ideals and break bad like Walter White? And does that mean Trump should think twice before freeing him? Ross's friends were shocked at his arrest. They described him as sweet-natured, loyal, guileless, and non-aggressive. He comes across as poetic and sensitive in his artwork, and an online interview posted before his arrest.
It was definitely a first love experience for me because I learned a whole lot about love.
and myself, and like how attached and vulnerable you can get.
Those who oppose freeing Ross say that he was also a contract killer.
Nah.
He actually solicited the killings of as many as 6 people, offering $150,000 to a would-be hitman.
His mother said non-violent guy. No.
But when you look closer,
But at the end of the day, it still allowed me to start my own business, buy a house, buy a car, and pay me. Absolutely. What business did you start, if you don't mind me asking?
Top administrator Curtis Green had just been arrested. It looked like he might have stolen about $350,000 worth of.
You seem like a cool guy, Durham.
Participant on the Silk Road was chatting.
I think that's how you pronounce your name. Maybe I'm wrong, but you seem like a cool guy. What business did you start? I'm curious.
First time I've had to call on my muscle.
Do you want him beat up, shot, just paid a visit?
I'd like it beat up, then forced to send the bitcoins he stole back.
Later that day, the Dread Pirate Roberts messaged Knob again.
Okay, so can you change the word to execute rather than torture? He was on the inside for a while, and now that he's been arrested, I'm afraid he'll give up info.
Knob sent the Dread Pirate Roberts a picture of what looked like Curtis Green being tortured and killed.
I'm pissed I had to kill him, but what's done is done.
It turns out that Knob was DEA agent Carl Force, one of 2 investigators on the case, who went to prison for embezzling Bitcoin during the investigation.
Hit the like and subscribe button, guys. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. Really appreciate everybody.
Who set up a fake hit wasn't actually Ross Ulbricht. After all, the name was inspired by the film The Princess Bride to describe a character inhabited over and over through many generations.
I am not the Dread Pirate Roberts, he said.
I love glass blowing and glass stories. That's awesome, man.
When
really cool business.
Roberts gave an interview to Forbes 2 months before Ulbricht's arrest. He insisted that he was not the site's founder. What inspired you to start the Silk Road?
I didn't start the Silk Road. My predecessor did.
The Silk Road forums are full of comments from the Dread Pirate Roberts account. Did you write those?
The most I am willing to reveal is that I am not the first administrator of Silk Road.
The jury never saw this interview.
Hey, everybody's saying was there multiple DPRs? Absolutely there was. I was DPR once.
Curtis Green says to this day that he doesn't believe Ross is the one who put out the hit and claims the undercover agent Carl Force, aka Knob, also had access to the Dread Pirate Roberts account.
And Carl Force and myself, as far as I know, were the only ones that had the login.
When I was supportive of Ross to my attorneys, they said, why were you supportive of a guy that tried to kill you? And I immediately snapped back and I said, how do you know that he tried to have me killed? You're just going by what the government tells you.
Federal prosecutors never charged Ross for attempted murder, but the federal judge who sentenced him to 2 life sentences plus 40 years with no possibility of parole nonetheless referenced these episodes in her decision.
The fantasy is that this sentence is anything more than just purely punitive and completely beyond the range of what drug offenders get in this district, in this circuit, in this country.
The judge also said that Ross should be a public example for acting as though he was better than the laws of this country. Well, maybe he is. The drug war is the real villain in this story. It's cost $1 trillion while fueling decades of black market crime and violence, all as overdose deaths have increased. Black markets often become violent because there are no legal mechanisms for contract enforcement, and their participants become desperate to avoid being caught.
Facts, Durham, facts.
Yes, it's ironic.
It's all good, great things to mention.
Openly admires China and
if you have a website, I would definitely check it out.
Might be the one to free the founder of the world's first major dark web drug market.
As I have said before, I will ask Congress to pass legislation ensuring that drug smugglers and human traffickers receive the death penalty.
But that's because if there's one thing Trump loves, it's a deal.
If you can't...
Are you legal, Andrew?
Then there's something wrong with you.
And I'm a very good deal maker, believe me. I guess I look at everything like a deal.
I do hundreds of deals. The deals come out of my ears.
And one of his most audacious deals of the 2024 campaign was with the Libertarian Party, which never wins, but sometimes covers the spread in close presidential elections. Trump showed up at their convention and proclaimed he was something of a libertarian himself, to which he was met with a chorus of boos.
Well, in the last year, I've been indicted by the government on 91 different things. So if I wasn't a libertarian before, I sure as hell am a libertarian now.
But behind the scenes, something else was going on. Trump had struck an agreement with the Libertarian Party leadership.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
Don't spoil this election for me, and I'll free your boy Ross.
He's already served 11 years. We're going to get him home.
Ross Ulbricht is one of our own. He is a libertarian.
I live in Spain, so yeah.
Inspired to do this website.
I live in Barcelona, Spain. So if you want to come to Spain, sure.
National Committee Chair Angela McArdle says Trump's former Director of National Intelligence, Richard Grenell, set up a meeting between her and the president at Mar-a-Lago during the 2024 campaign.
Rick is like, well, President Trump is a deal maker. You ask for the world. You ask for whatever you think, you can get, and it'll probably land in the middle. He likes making deals. And so I really still,
Buddy,
I was anxious to.
I definitely do live in Barcelona, Spain. You want to see outside my window? This is where I live.
Like that's the most important thing. And he said, I love freeing people. I'll do that.
After the party's nominating convention, McArdle vowed to only back its own candidate, Chase Oliver, in non-competitive states favoring the Democrats. Trump won by thin margins in several swing states, while the Libertarian Party...
Durham, I would love to have you in my Discord. If I send the link, will you join it?
It's sort of this like glorious miracle, the way things unfolded. It couldn't have been better for making sure...
Alright, Tommy's saying I don't live in Barcelona. If I show you outside, you don't even know what Barcelona looks like. So how are you going to say? And of course that's a photo. I'll show him just a picture, just a sneak peek. There you go. Can you see I live in Spain now? That was literally outside my window. So now you know I live in Spain. Alright, I'll send the Discord. Hold up.
Incentivized and to stick to his promises.
So,
give me a second, I'll send you the Discord link.
Silk Road began as Ross's idealistic attempt to make the black market just a little safer by creating a place where people could vet buyers, avoid risky in-person transactions, find untainted drugs, and share safety information.
Yeah, it's in my bio. I don't know if the link still works though.
Forces, as in every other black market
I think it expires like every 7 days.
How hard it is to fix the problems prohibition causes, whether it's violence or increasingly dangerous synthetic drugs like the fentanyl driving the overdose epidemic, which has only grown worse since Silk Road's shutdown. Unless and until the government wises up and takes a different approach to drugs, our choices...
I mean, I love the show where I live. You're not really manipulating anything, but if you think so, sure.
When I am president, it will be the policy of the United States to take down the cartels, just as we took down ISIS and the ISIS Caliphate.
We tried decapitating the cartels in the early 2010s, and it led to an even bloodier situation in Mexico. The last war on the cartels led to the rise of the notorious El Chapo. Once he was arrested, others took his place. The cartel transformed into a more decentralized and resilient umbrella structure, and the fentanyl flow increased, with seizures nearly doubling between 2021 and 2023. As long as there's a strong demand for drugs in America, it seems that there will be willing suppliers. Drug prohibition's failed, and no amount of bluster about executing dealers or going to war in Mexico is going to change that. But even if you disagree and think Trump can somehow finally win the drug war, it still doesn't justify keeping Ross locked up through his 40s. He'd already be out if he'd accepted the 10-year plea deal the government offered him. He served his time and expressed remorse.
To the extent that my actions led to drug abuse and addiction, I'm sorry.
Ross has been a model prisoner, pursuing his master's in psychology, teaching and serving as a conflict mediator on the inside, and collecting over 150 signatures of support for his release from fellow inmates. It certainly would be a far more defensible intervention than
I'm trying to figure it out.
Pardoning of his son Hunter for all potential crimes covering more than a decade.
What are you going to do over the next
5 years. I think one sentence. I'm gonna do a few things, so one sentence isn't enough. But I want to. Pretty sure I want to start a family in the next 5 years. Nice. Okay.
I'm trying to find the link. Guys, give me a second. I will find this.
Now, we're saying all this stuff is going out of fact. Survival day, this is done, right? We've moved on. Woke is starting to die, and it's certainly dying over in America. One of the first things Donald Trump has done with his newfound presidency, second time round, is to get rid of all the DEI employees in the public service in America. Now, it should be noted that they are actually on leave at the moment, but the plan is that they will all be put out of work eventually. Their departments will be pulled apart. Their services are no longer required because woke is dead.
Thailand's awesome. I'd like to go to Thailand. But definitely come to Barcelona. I'd show you around. I'm just trying to find the damn... I forget how to share the link in Discord. I forget how to get the link of the Discord. It's so annoying. I'm trying to remember how.
Initiatives, offices and programs, and take down all outward-facing media such as websites, social media accounts, etc. of DEIA officers. It is over. DEI is dead in America. And of course, we talked last week about the fact that Facebook now has dismantled their DEI policies. Lots of companies now are walking away from DEI because they've realised they don't have to suck up to anyone anymore. It was always window dressing. All this concern. We must have lots of minorities. It's only because that's what they thought the rest of corporate America was doing, what the rest of the corporate world was
I'm literally watching a video on how to freaking send my Discord link. Bro, what is wrong with me?
And saying it's low crap. Who would have thought that this was never real in the first place? And something else Trump has done quite
Okay, sir, it's right under server boosts.
in this country. And Peter Dutton has
Okay, I found it. Holy cow. That was so simple once I figured it out.
Australian flag, well, Donald Trump now says that on American government properties, be they in America or overseas, so embassies and the like.
Alright, I'm opening it up YouTube. I'm going to send it right in the chat.
Flag, the US flag. There'll be no more pride flags, no more trans flags, no more Black Lives Matters flags. There is one flag for the United States. He posted online, starting immediately, only the United States of America flag is authorised to be flown or displayed at US facilities, both domestic and abroad, and featured in US government content. The flag of the United States of America united all Americans under the universal principle.
Alright, anyone that wants to join the Discord, the link is posted right there.
Our great country are shared by American citizens, past and present. And just to add to it, a little bit more. Donald Trump, they said, the economy's going to be stuffed. Now, all the economists were coming out before the election and saying, tariffs, it's going to be terrible for America. No one's going to want to invest in America because it's going to be so expensive to do so. But since becoming president just yesterday, $3 trillion have flowed into America. Take a look.
In total, before the end of my first full business day in Washington in the White House, we've already secured nearly $3 trillion of new investments in the United States, and probably that's going to be 6 or 7 by the end of the week. Tremendous amounts of money are coming in for many things other than even AI. AI seems to be very hot. It seems to be the thing that a lot of smart people are looking at very strongly, and our country will be prospering like never before.
I feel a bit sorry for the Trumpster. He sounds a bit lethargic there because he's had a very long time after the inauguration. All the balls he had to go to, etc. So I'll cut him a little bit of stuff.
Yeah, I'm posting the Discord link, but it does not freaking work.
He was even inaugurated. The work that Trump has done.
I'll try to add you by username, I guess.
Since he was elected. just to change the culture of the United States, which has now moved on to the corporate world, etc., has been absolutely extraordinary.
He's done more in one day for the United States than Joe Biden did in 4 years for the United States. So imagine what the world is going to be like. Imagine what America will be like.
He's done more good for the United States. I wouldn't say he's necessarily done more than Biden has done, but what Biden did wasn't good.
But to look at the good Trump has done in one day, imagine after 4 years the absolute turnaround. It's quite miraculous in terms of getting rid of all the DEI stuff. I mean, it turns out saving public money is quite easy if you've got a brain. I just feel sorry for all of these former DEI officers. Could you imagine having on your...
There we go. That's the link. That's the Discord link for anyone that wants to join it.
To know anything about...
Just where is your Democrat state? You'll find a home. You'll find a home.
To be honest, I just take it off my resume because whether it's there or not, it still says you've got no qualifications. So what's the difference?
But in the lefty land, though, they will still be able to find places of employment. But like you say, they are now useless in terms of finding an actual real job. Who the heck would want to hire these people? If you're a DEI manager or a DEI anything, what is your actual job instead of overseeing the brainwashing, the indoctrination of your entire department?
It's worse than they're regarded as useless. They're now an object of derision, and that's the great thing that Trump has done. He's not only said this is wrong, he's pointed out why it's ridiculous, and he's made a
but amongst conservatives,
which
it always was. So I'm saying they will definitely find homes because what is happening as we speak? Yes, the conservatives are back on top. Yeah, baby, let justice roar. But the lefties will be recalibrating. They will absolutely be going back to the drawing board. They will be getting together in clusters. The Democratic states are going to be beaming with that blue light as they get together and ensure that they are taking care of their own and preparing for the future. So I have no doubt those people will have jobs to go to.
I put it in the bio, and I also put it in my
administration, but
in the chat and in the bio if you guys want to join the Discord. I updated the link.
Asking employers if they know of any efforts to disguise these programs by using coded or imprecise language. Now, the reason why the Trump administration has done this is because they are well aware that in many Biden administration departments, these DEI type projects that were bleeding money weren't called DEI projects. They would be under some sort of, we're the Department of, say, People and Culture, etc., and so on. So he's trying to weed out the ones that are trying to exist beneath the surface and aren't so like we fly the flag and we preach the sermons.
Yes, we do.
This is strange, isn't it? I mean, didn't the Democrats and a lot of journalists warn us that Donald Trump would be a dictator on day one and start arresting his enemies? You mean they lied to us again? But here it happened. It's same all over again. Trump has a genius for making his enemies go nuts and hysterical and a little bit dictatorial themselves. You take the Episcopalian bishop of the Washington National Cathedral. This woman, whose angry eyes might just tell you a bit about her politics, she abused her position at the pulpit to give Donald Trump a political lecture. She's above, in this screen you're going to see, and Vice President Vance and Trump's reaction you will see below.
I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
There's more of the same, really, at Trump's press conference today. He's second in 2 days, mind you.
If you just voted for Donald J. Trump, hit the like button, join the Discord. We talk about business, stocks, all kinds of other stuff. Politics, of course.
It was war all over again.
Their lives have been ruined, and in many cases, listen to me for a second, stop interrupting. We won this election in a landslide because the American public is tired of people like you that are just one-sided, horrible people in terms of crime. You don't talk about all the people that have been killed and what happens to those murderers.
But the absolute worst is the media left going crazy about Trump's new best friend and advisor, Elon Musk, owner of X, supposedly giving Nazi salutes at Trump's inauguration rally yesterday. Here is how CNN presented.
I just want to look at that salute that he gave again, just if anybody missed it, we'll just show it again. He's just
The Bellamy salute.
All right, so we just showed that. We just showed that. Right, it's one salute.
Democrat politicians went ape, of course. Heil Hitler salutes at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Democrat Senator Chris Evans, among others, said the same.
What do you think of Elon Musk, perhaps the president's most visible advisor, doing 2 Heil Hitler salutes last night at the president's televised rally?
Let me show you now the full footage. Let me expose the lie. Musk is actually pro-Israel, and he met Israel's president and relatives of Jewish hostages. And what CNN left out shows that Musk was actually offering the crowd there his heart.
Thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
I mean, really, joining me is Rowan Dean, editor-in-chief of The Spectator Australia, host of Outsiders, here on Sky News.
His heart goes out to us, guys.
Plus, there's this new show, by the way, The World According to Rowan Dean, on Fridays at 7 p.m. Rowan, great to see you again. First, that smearing of Elon Musk. You know, all right, if you cut the image short, looks like a Nazi salute, clearly is not a Nazi. He's a sympathizer of Israel, strange Nazi. So you've got to be deranged to think he is one. And when you look at the context, I mean, really, it's clearly he's not intending to do anything of the kind. So are these journalists and politicians who say, oh, he's giving a Nazi salute, are they mad or simply liars?
Well, probably a bit of both, but above all, they are desperate. The Democrats, the left wing, the woke, whatever you want to call them, crowd, they've reached the very bottom of the barrel. There's nothing left in their armory. They have absolutely nothing. It's taken them 8 years of throwing everything they possibly could, from the lowest sort of grubby insult to the full body of courtrooms and judges and law cases and everything. They tried to throw everything at Donald Trump. And now they've got nothing. The American people said, we're not interested in your smears on Donald Trump. So what have they done? They've got to turn to the next person.
Since you guys are here listening, I just want to say something really quick, interesting about my YouTube channel.
Because that would be racist, obviously. So they're looking around, oh, Elon Musk, he's a...
So, since we're talking about YouTube and stuff like that, obviously I have this. I didn't talk about the jabs or anything like that. All I did was, just talk about Elon and Donald Trump. But apparently you can't do that because then you get a strike on your YouTube channel. And even though you have almost 3,000 subscribers, thanks to all you guys, you can't apply to get any money or monetized thanks to this. And that's because they want to silence you when you mention these people. Now, this isn't even the first time I got one of these. Look, guys, this is the second one. This is the first one. This was just a warning because apparently I can't talk about Trump's mass deportation. I get a medical disinformation thing. Appeal rejected. Well, guess what, guys? We just submitted another appeal for this one.
Public of America, they've heard this stuff over and over again, and it just reinforces how correct they were to vote for Donald Trump and his team.
I mean, it was strange Nazis.
And once you get 3 community guideline strikes, you're out of here. What a pain.
Hostage being held by Hamas, and he swore that he would never remove it until the last hostage was released.
It's a very strange Nazi that's...
I just explained the strike because apparently I can't discuss Donald Trump and Elon Musk on YouTube, and it's a medical disinformation strike. You ever heard of that before? I guess that's the excuse they try to use when they want to silence you. Because apparently you can't say anything that goes against the World Health Organization. Like, I couldn't mention anything about, that stuff or anything like that, even though I wasn't saying anything bad or any medical disinformation. I follow all the guidelines of YouTube, yet they think it's cool to strike me down because I talk about sensitive stuff like this. But look, it's not for anything real. It's just for medical misinformation. Medical misinformation.
Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger. For we will all...
I submitted appeal, so maybe maybe I can get my channel monetized. Like almost 3,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate all you guys supporting, but it doesn't really help too much when YouTube won't partner with me, so I can't make any money. It sucks, but it is what it is. I'm not going to stop making the content I want to make.
Exactly. Well, watch the best.
You guys support me. You guys give me motivation. You like the videos. You watch the videos. It helps.
Discipline of the entire
We're just an uproar of...
all of us get straight faces.
If you said you cannot be proved, if what you said cannot be proved and it relates to medical issue, you could be damaging the public by spreading things that aren't true. YouTube owns the platform, bud. I'm not damaging anyone, and I'm not spreading any medical things that can't be proven. I just told you I didn't say anything. Are you a liberal or something? Are you a Biden voter? Are you mad? I just told you I didn't say anything about that. I just said I didn't say anything about that. And after the first time, okay, legitimately I did say something. Right here, I said something about your precious pokies. Because I can't even say the word without getting, attacked by YouTube. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Well, why do you believe in censorship so heavily then? You can call a woman an object on Facebook now and objectify her, but I can't say like a couple things here and there without them removing me from the platform completely. It's too liberalized. Make it a little bit more free. That's all I'm asking for. It's not like I said the type of stuff that Alex Jones and RFK Jr. have said on Twitter and everywhere else. I haven't said even half of what they said.
Fear of being killed under Donald Trump. I mean, give me a break. It's also child abuse.
Like I said, I don't know exactly even what I said. All I said was something about I don't really want to repeat what I said, but I didn't say anything that would hurt anybody. I'll just put it that way, and that's the way they said it to me. But I guess according to you, if you say something that could hurt somebody. I'll just leave it there. I don't want them giving me any more community guideline strikes. If I continue talking about it, they probably will. So let's move on. What's your favorite Trump policy if you support Trump? Prove it to me.
In America, saying she's looking to invest billions because it's a new land of opportunity. After warning for years, the governments here were so anti-business that they were forcing companies to go overseas. And now you see it even with her. What do you make of this?
Oh, Andrew, it's heartbreaking. You have someone like Gina Reinhardt who, pretty much single-handedly gave Jim Chalmers his surplus for the last couple of years through her iron ore and other mining profits.
It's not easy to get to 2,800 subscribers, and when they want to censor you and not pay you, it makes me even more pissed.
Billionaires and entrepreneurs recognizing that we all benefit from their investments and their hard work and the companies they build up. It's heartbreaking to think that here in Australia we are so dumb, so myopic, so stupid that the Labor government is turning its back, closing down, all our great resource industries, putting the money on these kind of fake ideas like green hydrogen, windmills, solar panels, all this rubbish. And we are destroying the very prosperity that made this nation so great, to the extent that the billionaires like Gina Reinhardt are going, America, that's where the action is, that's where the money is to be made, that's where the investments are guaranteed to return a profit, and Australia increasingly is not living up to that. When you think what we could be, Andrew, what we could be, and what people like Gina Reinhardt are urging us to be, and our government's just so stupidly turns its back on it.
Oh, absolutely. It's just...
Guys, I'm just praying. I'm reading through YouTube's guidelines right now. I am just praying that YouTube gets fixed.
And for some strange reason, we're telling ourselves we can't use any of it. I mean, it's just less.
We even don't mind gold.
Nah, guys, you gotta look through all of the YouTube stuff. The advisor-friendly content guidelines are insane.
Exactly. But we don't want any gold.
Runding, thanks for your time.
Alright, guys, thank you for your time. Hit the like and subscribe button. And I think that's it. I agree. Good point, Kyle. Hagu. Or Haig. Sorry, my pronunciation.
Plenty to cover. So joining me now, foreign editor at The Australian, Greg Sheridan. Greg, welcome. This is sort of like grand final week for you in US politics. You've got an Australian election coming up. You've got it all going on. You've written today in your paper, The Australian, Trump is bigger, he's bolder, he's brassier than ever before. You say he's speaking to plain American and for the sometimes forgotten majority, that he's an action man, impatient to get going. So I say to you, I think that's what the world needs right now, isn't it?
Well, Peter, great to be with you. I think that is right. Trump is always going to be a mixed grill. There are going to be some gargoyles in his circle. There are going to be some weird things he says and some weird things he does. But listening to his many speeches on Inauguration Day, first of all, what a contrast to Joe Biden, who could barely walk onto a stage, couldn't read the teleprompter properly. There was Trump signing executive orders as he was talking to the journalists and so on. 78 years old, he went to about 100 events. So you've got to admire his stamina and energy. This is unlike any second term we've ever seen before. Second terms are normally an administration kind of slightly winding down. Well, this is much more energetic and focused than his first term. And listening to all his speeches yesterday, a great deal of what he said, maybe 70% of what he said, represented good common sense. So he says, okay, I don't want any more.
Much love, brother. Appreciate you. Good talking with you, man. Good talking with you.
Well, who could disagree with that? He says, I don't want any more illegal immigration over the southern border.
I'm going to get off here in a second myself, guys. But if you haven't already, everyone hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the show, if you liked the live stream. Much appreciated. I'm about to get off. Probably in about a minute. Unless someone has something interesting to say.
Huge number of Americans would have agreed with that. So populism can be good or it can be bad, but when it's well managed, it is the wisdom of ordinary common sense against what has become the madness of the American elites.
Right, just on energy, drill baby drill, it couldn't have been clearer with his intent. It couldn't have been more consistent throughout his campaign. He's already pulled the US out of the Paris Agreement. That was one of his early executive orders. He's upending that climate club. What's this mean for places like Australia?
Well, I think this completely revolutionises the politics and economics of global climate change. The Albanese government's energy policy, like its defence policy, is essentially a farce, insider fantasy wrapped in a kind of episode of madness.
Alright, guys. Peace out. Appreciate everybody. Hit the like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next live stream.